What other do you find helpful tips for patients or people to work on sleep?
On sleep, I did like I did what when you were talking about being thankful, like a gratitude journal, just a notebook. Like I even have a notebook in my bed, and every night I try to write down all the things I'm grateful for that day, because then gratitude is one of your higher frequencies. So when you're trying to stay in alignment and be relaxed, there's nothing better than actually being grateful for what you have, even if it's just simple things like your pets or your family or the roof over your head, or that you had food that you could put in your stomach at night. That gratitude makes you relax.
That's true. That's true.
And for me, I like it's depending on the client. Like if they like nature, like you said, the walk, or just sitting out, watching the sun go down, just giving yourself that nice quiet time to kind of decompress and get out of your head, appreciate what even is around you,
Hmm.
is helpful.
Yeah, and same, you can have maybe time with your pets, or maybe, that could be relaxing, anything positive. So during day also, my recommendation to clients is that, do whatever keeps you positive. Do that during day, maybe just like 5-10 minutes going out, looking at the sky, listening to nature, communicating, or just five. You don't have to spend hours there, but you can put that throughout day, so you don't get too divide up, because that can really ruin the day and your efficiency, right? Which you said, if you got on go go go. So the more sympathetic responses than fight or flight, then that actually tires you quicker, because it draws so much energy out of every cell, as that you're absolutely right. You can work more hours, and if you are relaxed and kind of give break in between, so that really helps. Do you find that helpful for your clients too?
Yeah. I consider that part of self-care. And I always tell them it doesn't have to be like you take a whole afternoon off. It can be something as simple as your favorite song on the radio,
Yeah.
or, just even taking a few minutes to visualize where you want to be in your future, something that makes you extremely happy. It can be something really quick that they can transition throughout the day between coming from work to home or from home to work, the different transitions, because people don't think about what they're taking from one moment to the next. So they could have had a really rough day at work, and then they take that home, and now they're yelling at their spouse or their kids or somebody, while they could take those few minutes, even if it's just sitting outside the door for just a few seconds, do some breathing, listen to a song, something to get yourself. It's almost like transitioning from, okay, now I'm out of my work mode, now I'm in my home mode, and just do something in between.
Mhm.
It's almost like reset.
Yeah, no,
Reset. Yeah.
that's true. That's the reset to it. And so, do you think we talked about a little bit about diet too? So, where do you see? I think you've mentioned about a lot of people indulge into these comfort food, because they're stressed, or do you find that a problem for your clients too?
It depends. Usually, like I said, when you start taking time to do self-care, then that's when you can start understanding, like, I don't need the cupcake, or I don't need the cookie. If I'm really stressed out, I can do a breathing exercise or take a walk or listen to a song. It's just a matter of almost like resetting that need. Why do I want the cookie? What is the reason behind the cookie? What do I think the cookie is going to give me? And then replace it with something healthier or better alignment, because sometimes you don't think, you're just absent-mindedly, you just reach for a cookie because it's there. But when you actually take the time to go, why do I even want the cookie? What does this cookie represent? And then once you can understand that, then they're like, oh, I don't really need the cookie.
Yeah, yeah.
It's more of a mindset. Why? A lot of what I do with my clients is get them to look inward. Why do I need that?
Yeah, why you need that, and why we were doing thing, and what was it trying to achieve out of it. Absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing is, comfort food. Also tell them, maybe try drinking water a little bit. So if you get that hungry, maybe you're thirsty and you think you need to eat something. I think you might need to drink something. So maybe drink some water, not carbonated, caffeinated drinks, but just regular water, good water, and maybe so that kind of gets you cut down some of the eating habits. And you're absolutely right. If we can counsel them or help them to understand, it's a and also every treatment does not work for everyone. So there are some treatment will work for one and some might not. And there's we are all unique. We all have a unique genetic code. We all going to work out of that. And things, treatment and disease both work and manifest differently for everybody, because that's how we are. That's what defines us. So we have to work with our strengths and weaknesses and kind of tailor those response totally different. So that's why everybody is so interesting, and everybody can be so interesting if we really study them and then work with them. So that's what I tell, that not every treatment will work for you, but don't give up, because you have to figure out your best, right? Your best. It saves a lot of people ask also about is it going to be a difficult what do you find that a lot of questions about why I'm in that shape and what I have to do, like they are like, first they don't know they are in bad shape.
I just remind them, like, everyone's on their own journey, and every journey is beautiful, and every piece of you is beautiful. It's just a matter of getting in there and understanding what you're about. So like you said, what works for one might not work for another. And like I even tell them that sometimes people think that's just a switch. Like, I just flip the switch and everything's just going to be better. And it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
The amount of time it took, because like I would use my own life as a reference, that I didn't just decide one day that I'm unworthy and not like myself. It was after, being told constantly that I was stupid and worthless. And so just the same, to undo all of that, it's almost like you have to unwind and go kind of backwards and unwrap yourself from whatever it is that you were tangled in. So depending on how deeply and how long can sometimes, bear into how long on this side is going to take. It's not a magic pill. You can't just take this and go, everything's better. It's a journey. And it depends too on how much, you can handle at one time. Some people can dive in really deep, really fast, where others are like, I'm one of those that's very stubborn. And it took more time for me sometimes to dig into why am I doing that and where did this come from? So yeah, again, it's all based on you, because we all have our own personality and our own quirks and, ways that we do things. It's just a matter of wanting and choosing to do the work to get to the other side.
And that is so true. And the other thing is, we have to always, this is also true, brain has amazing power. Brain is so complicated. It can bring you back, you never thought, or anybody doesn't think. But that's the beauty of brain, because and people ask me miracles, and I say, believe in miracles and it will happen. But, whatever if you have positive beliefs, it will happen. Believe me, it works like that.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna be negative about that, unfortunately, also is gonna really impair you. So that's how this choice we have, being positive or negative, the effects or the benefits out of it, nobody knows, because once we become positive, we seek so much positive energy and we grow that there's no end to it. So actually, but same way, negative thoughts are actually can really hamper, and so that choice is ours. But still we want to always do the other one best for us, right? So any other message you want to give it to our listeners, or you want to summarize that for us?
I think the last thing I would really say is, on your journey, if you look at it this way, if every day you take one step, in 365 days, you've now gone 365 steps. So when you look back a year from now, everything's going to look a lot differently than it does today. It's just a matter of every day. Don't worry about the 365 steps. Just worry about the step today.
Mm-hmm. And that's so true. And it's gonna be also, like any journey, it is slow and steady. It is not one day race. It might take a few weeks, but be patient and result will come. And I've seen, people, as soon as the direction is correct. So once you become positive thoughts and your direction is correct, it can take a little time, but you'll get there. Mm-hmm. But direction has to be correct. You can't have wrong direction and then still maybe one day you'll reach, but you'll take a longer time. That's all. That with those, thank you for coming, and people can check out your website. You can tell if they want to reach you, so you can reach out to Lori's info. And we have actually down here, she's a transition coach and author with, and you can tell about your book.
Oh, you want me to say about my book?
Yeah.
My book, Second Chances, How I Turned Hate into Love and Found My Purpose.
Perfect, great. That people can check it out. So, okay, but thank you for coming, and if there's any feedback, give us, please, whether it's Twitter, email, Facebook, whatever you like. And thank you, Lori, for coming over and giving us a great talk. Thank you for watching. Take care.
This is real love every time we touch. Through all the times that have come and gone. This is real love every time we touch. You still remember us, Cicada's love. This is real love, real love, real love, real love, real love, real love. We still remember us, Cicada's love. My heart has always been with you. 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 17 years time kept them away from the love, but the hand of fate brought them back again, yeah. Time had taken its toll and she couldn't remember. That's when Moby started dancing, the memories came back. Her love from long ago, the feeling in the heart was a love set in stone, and nothing will tear this love apart. This is real love every time we touch. Through all the times that have come and gone. This is real love every time we touch. You still remember us, Cicada's love.
Rocky Kramer, and you're watching Lifestyle TV USA.
Hello, my name is Gina Roberts and I'm your Mrs. DC America 2020. You are watching Lifestyle TV USA, and I am asking for your prayers for me to win the crown of Mrs. America this Saturday. Thank you so much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we have an excellent guest all the way from Australia. Let's welcome Lillian.
Hey, hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you, Lillian. And tell me a little bit about yourself, Lillian, what you do.
Okay, so I'm originally a school teacher, but I've been working for the last 20 plus years as a parenting strategist. I'm the author of 6 books, and the 6 books that I've written and the work that I've been doing with my parenting is all based around my youngest son, who is now 28. He was diagnosed with ADHD, ODD, and childhood depression when he was a young boy. And I now have a huge passion to share our journey with other families and assist them as well.
Mm-hmm. So these are the 5 key areas covered in your book, right?
Yes, correct. In one of my books, yeah.
It's one of them, and you have 6 of them, right?
6 books, yeah. This is my favorite book because it's the story of our whole journey from my pregnancy right through until when he was about just before he turned 16. Yeah.
Okay. And that is such a great topic. And I will talk because I do see some of patients with ADHD.
Yes.
And we deal with somebody who has ADHD, and then, I think you have touched the great topic, especially in, how to deal with and
Yes.
what are the things for the parents and kind of living with it. I only see one side when they come and they, we try to solve some of the symptoms. But I think you're doing phenomenal job with somebody trying to get to the bottom of that. So tell me, how did your journey start?
It's a long journey. I'll try and be precise. So basically, it's a long story. My son was actually born hyperactive. He was aggressive and hyperactive as a young child. And by the time he was, 2-3 years old, it was quite evident that he was more busy, more hyperactive, more demanding than the average child. I had another son 8 years older, and he was very quiet and easygoing and, compliant and cooperative. And this little boy was just like a whirlwind. And he basically was never happy. As a baby, if he wasn't feeding or sleeping, he was screaming. And by the time he could, communicate and move around, it was very, very evident that we had a real live wire on our hands. And we had him in childcare from 3.5 years old when I went back to work. And basically nobody could handle him. He got asked to leave centre after centre after centre. We had 5 centres in our town that we lived in then, and he went to all of them because they just couldn't cope with him. He was too aggressive. He was defiant. He was hyperactivity. He was aggressive with the other children, with the staff. And he was just a real handful, and they didn't know what to do with him. And at that stage, neither did we.
Oh, wow. So, that is a very interesting aspect because, life gives lemon and you make lemonade, or you try to kind of not only learn how to get out of that, but you also try to teach others, and you be like yourself. What you're doing is what a phenomenal job. And that's a lot of work. I mean, taking care of kid by itself is full time, and take care of somebody who has some disorder is another level. So I think it's a great topic to discuss as well as to learn from it. So tell me a little bit about what things have helped you during your journey.
Well, once again, it's been a long journey. So, Dr. Nobi, initially we started, because to be totally transparent with you, we tried conventional medicine. We went to doctor, pediatrician, psychologist, psychiatrist, counsellors, all of mainstream. And remember, I'm now talking about 25 years ago, so there wasn't as much holistic, viewpoints as there are today. But back then, the only advice that we got from the mainstream medical people was to medicate. And that was definitely something that we did not want to do. We did not want to medicate him. And so we really had to seek our own answers, quite honestly, which was quite challenging at the time. I've always been, very holistic with my health and wellness. So we weren't prepared to take that journey. So we started with food and diet, and that, we got some results. We eliminated, toxins and looked at personal care and chemicals. We looked at self-esteem and self-worth. We looked at nutritional support, and we looked at all of these things. And from age 5 to 12, those aspects that we utilize were working reasonably well. So we still had a little bit of a roller coaster journey, but he was doing okay. Unfortunately, when adolescence hit, the challenges 10x'd. And we then went to a 12, 13, 14-year-old that got kicked out of every school. We had to move 3 schools in 3 years. We took him to an expensive private school, a regular secondary school, like an alternative school. Like they just couldn't handle him. He was just really, really difficult. And we then, it affected our marriage. It affected my relationship with my other son. And we were very, very, very stressed. And we were very, very fortunate because I really believe in the law of attraction. And I said, help, I need some help. And we met a mentor he became our mentor, who helped us along our journey. And we discovered that aside from all of the things we were already working on, that we really needed to look at our communication, our relationship, the language that we were using, and basically how we interacted with our son. We went from when he was age 14 and I started really becoming concerned about his future. He was in trouble with the police. He was in trouble with substances, taking substances he shouldn't have. He was getting kicked out of school and, getting in all sorts of strife, not getting on with anybody in the family at all. Mm-hmm. And my husband and I were just beside ourselves, and we started learning to treat him differently. We started learning that it was more about how we relationship with him, because when he was getting in trouble all of the time, what do you think we were focusing on? We was focusing on all the stuff that he was doing wrong. We were giving that energy. We were putting, all of our attention and energy into things he was doing wrong, instead of focusing on his, on his successes or his greatness or the things that he was doing well. So when we started switching that around, we started to get really great results. And it was almost like, in 6 months, it was like somebody came from Mars and zoomed down and took our child away and brought a new one in, because we had a complete transformation. And that's why I'm so passionate now about, incorporating that very important component, because a lot of parents work on the health of the child. Mm-hmm. And are you a medical doctor? What sort of?
Yeah.
So, they work on the health of the child. But really, for me, one of the most important things is the relationshiping, the communication, the language, and, what we really energize within that relationship.
Yeah. Now, this is a very important topic, because that is well said, that if you focus on the negative, and many parents actually, they go into this mode where they're going to say, oh, that's not correct, you're doing that wrong. Okay. That might cause problem for not only them, but also for kids too, because kids take it very differently. And then if you're absolutely right, if you focus on positive things which they are doing right, then it really changes the discussion. Not only the discussion, they feel that you are not against them, you are with them or somehow. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. We had to become his biggest supporter and fan. Mm-hmm. Like he had to know that we loved him unconditionally, no matter what was going on, no matter whether he was in trouble at school or getting drunk or hanging out with the wrong kids. Mm-hmm. Like one time, Moby, we had a disagreement, as parents do, and I said, you're grounded, and he said, no, I'm not, and he used some choice words, and off he ran, and we couldn't communicate with him. He wasn't answering the phone. Anyway, long story short was, about 5 or 6 hours later that evening, we found him in a drunken stupor in the gutter. He didn't even know what his name was. He was so out of it. He'd taken who knows what. He doesn't even know what he'd taken. And he came back. It took him 2 days to sober up, and we started implementing what we were learning in that 2 days. So instead of focusing on, why did you do that? What were you taking? All the things that parents would naturally do, we started just focusing on telling him how much we loved him and supporting him, and not focusing on what he'd done, but focusing on moving forward. And that was really the beginning of our healing with him. And I'll have to share a story with you, because when I actually, so this is the book that I'm happy to give away to any of the listeners. This is my favorite book.
Sure.
But when this is called the revolting child, a blessing in disguise. When I love this story so much, because when I did a book launch for this book, my son was invited to come along, and he was a little reticent. He wasn't really that keen on coming along, being a 16-year-old, just turned 16. And anyway, my husband and I did our talk. We shared our story, and then we had Q&A at the end. And somebody put their hand up and said, "Can I ask Caleb a question, my son?" And I looked at him and he's like, "Oh, I suppose so," you know. And anyway, so the person asked the question and they said, "What was it, Caleb, that took you from where you were just, you know, about 10 months earlier to where you are now?" And we see that, you know, the young man that you are now, we've heard the story, we've heard all of the things that were happening just not so long ago. And my ears were pricking. My ears were, you know, really like, I really wanted to hear the answer to that question as well. And he thought about it for a few seconds, and then he said, "When I saw the effort that my mum and dad went to be the absolute best parents they could be, I just wanted to be the best son I could be."
Wow.
And for me, that was like, you know, like that was just everything, because I'm like, okay, this works. Okay. You know, this works, because he was not going down a good road. He was in trouble with the police, as I said, with alcohol, with drugs, with mixing with the wrong kids. It could have gone a very, very different path. And now at 28, he still lives with us. He's got his partner with us as well. We get on so well as a family. He's a beautiful man. He encourages me. He brings me flowers. He writes me beautiful letters.
Wow.
He's a beautiful, caring man. And I'm so proud of him. He's gone on to own his own business. He got kicked out of school at 15. He had no formal education. He went and, you know, furthered his education on his own. He got an apprenticeship. He became an electrician, and he now has his own business, and he's doing very well. And I could never have seen that, you know, back.
That is such a great sharing. Thank you. So, so he's doing wonderful right now, and you said he's even didn't complete his education, but he's doing great work as an electrician.
Absolutely. Right? He's got an awesome business, and the reason his business is so successful is because he is so good with people. Like, he gives great customer service, and people, he works with my husband, his dad. So they're in business together. And they just have the most successful business because, and first of all, people are so blown away by their relationship, like how well they've been now working together for 10 years. And their relationship is so solid. They've never had an argument. They've never had a harsh word. They're together for 10 hours a day working together, and they have the most amazing relationship. And my husband and he used to clash like crazy, you know, when he was a teenager, because my husband was so stressed about the situation and how he spoke to his mother and his brother, and like it was really stressful. So to see their relationship now is so beautiful, and, you know, it just fills my heart with so much joy. And it really, this is why I'm so passionate about what I do now, because I want other families to be able to experience what took me 20 years to learn. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just want other people to be able to feel that feeling. And I speak to so many families now, so many parents who are stressed, who are, you know, don't know what they're doing. Their kids are not listening. They're not being cooperative. They're being disrespectful. And they don't know what to do other than yell and scream and nag and threat, because that's just what they know, right? So, yeah.
No, this is such an important share, you know, everybody to know that, like you said, both him and your husband used to have arguments, and then once he realized that it's better to encourage him and to see good in him. Then not only it, I think when we have that situation, it brings an important topic is that, you know, when we have that stressful situation, we make it worse many times.
Yes, correct. Absolutely.
So the situation could be less. So if you minimize that impact, and then it definitely, you can see the path. You can really see where you should be going, and then all you have to do is then, like you said, thinking that must be a lot of stress for you to see you, your husband, and him fighting. That part was making you very sad, of course, more
Very
than
much. And with his older brother, like his older brother is 8 years older, and he's now a naturopath, herbalist and nutritionist. He did a triple degree, and he's very passionate because he saw his younger brother growing up with all of those challenges. And when he saw, that we took a holistic path, he really wanted to be able to help other families as well. So we actually work together a lot, my son and I, my older son, who's the naturopath, because I really feel like the parenting work I do is very holistic. So I come in with more of the parenting and relationship type stuff. I actually teach a beautiful parenting philosophy called the Nurtured Heart Approach, which is really about nurturing beautiful heart-centered relationships. And my son covers a lot of the health and wellness type stuff. So together we have a very unique way to approaching parenting.
Okay, great. And I will show everyone your book again, so this is your book. And it's available on Amazon and everything.
Well, I would love to gift it to any of your listeners. So if you share the link that I've given you here, they can actually click there to, I think it might be scroll up or down, I'm not sure. They can actually click on a link and they will be emailed the PDF of this book and they can read it for themselves. Yeah.
This is the link, I think is...
You can give this link. I think it's up the top further, Dr. Moby, and they can actually just click on the link and then...
This one?
No, further up, I think. Up. So where you see the picture of this book, there we go.
Yeah.
So they can fill this in here and then they can receive a free copy of this book. So this is our whole journey from my pregnancy right through until he was nearly 16. And in my pregnancy, there's another bit of a story in here. I used to be a migraine sufferer and I was taken to hospital with a very bad migraine, and I was given Pethidine and Maxilon for that migraine, and I believe that was a contributor for this issue. It was still found in my body 5 years later. So whether it was or not, I don't know, but I feel like that was a